On face value, religions are not integrating forces because people, as part of their processes of migration and coming from place to place, they carry with them different identities, and they carry that sense of otherness with them as part of their process of immigration and difference. They're coming into a culture being different, and the whole reality, context, and setup is one of otherness and difference. That otherness may or may not be religious, but the context is already one of otherness, and therefore, to the extent that there is religious otherness, it heightens it. The only way to overcome that is by a deeper introspection. One has to go deeper into the teachings of each of the religions, deeper into the values, deeper into the spiritual realities, in order to understand that as the antidote to the impression that religion separates are actually those deeper dimensions of religion that provide common unity. First amongst these is the affirmation of a common humanity that is taught and preached by all religions, because all religions teach the value of the human person, respect for the human person, many of them formulated in terms of the fact that man was created in the image of God. Looking deeper, the core moral values and the core spiritual values are also commonalities despite those differences. And then ultimately the capacity we all have through our different religions to come to know God and even to share with one another. So the answer of how religion can be a source of unifying despite differences in what appears in society, and how these differences are heightened by process of shifts of population and migration, is through deeper understanding, better coming to know one another, and therefore ultimately education and dialogue. How do mystics serve as an example to rising above these? Because they look at what is core. Mystics are the people who have the ability to affirm what is most important and to stay focused on it. The problem with all of us is that we get lost. We get lost in our lives, we get lost in our priorities. Even religious people, they get lost. Either they get lost in their practice or their scripture or their religious organizations. True mystics are the ones who didn't forget what it's all about. Because they didn't forget about what it's all about, they have the higher vision of God and consequently the higher vision of the human person. Teresa of Avila, to quote a great Spanish mystic who we just passed her on the way here, Signs for Avila, says, how do you know when you're growing in the love of God? When you grow in the love of the other person. So there's this interrelationship between coming to know God and the capacity to know the other person. So because the mystics have the core of the focus of a true relationship with God, they ultimately also hold the key to the deeper understanding of the human person. And once back to this notion of love, a significant dimension in the mystical life, for some the focus, for some an important supporting point, is the dimension of love. You cannot have a true mystical life without love, and you cannot have true love without love of another person. And therefore the opening of the heart, which is a requirement for the mystical life, when you open the heart, you can't open it a little bit or just like that only for some people. The heart is open. When it's open, and therefore it's open to all. And therefore the mystics are those who actually hold hope to show us what the modeling of the values, the goals, and the true vision of our religion is, and thereby to help us to transcend those differences that cause hatred and above all cause fear. Maybe I could put this a different way. Mystics are the ones who've gone beyond fear. We all live in our fears, in our boundaries, and our need to protect ourselves. You can't be a mystic and be full of fear, right? Because a mystic has to open himself. Fear protects you. You have to have fear of God, but not this kind of fear of the other. So true mystics are the ones who go beyond fear and therefore has the capacity to integrate.
Excellent. Perfect.
Thank you. Bye-bye.